What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and in this video I wanted to talk about Hoarfrost Stomp and why you don't need it. Now, of course, we worked with Hoarfrost for a little bit in the walkthrough, and it got nerfed in 1.03. Those episodes are still coming up, but in the meantime, I've had a lot of questions about, what do we use? Hoarfrost was nerfed. That's clearing the game for us. And there are plenty of early Ashes of War that we can swap over to that are super powerful. So I wanted to do a quick video just looking at a couple other early Ashes you should have access to by this point in the walkthrough, just to kind of showcase them and show you that everything's going to be just fine. So for the purpose of testing, I just hopped to a character that has more weapons to work with. So this is a 150. It is also on New Game Plus. So even though I'm a much higher level, keep in mind, everything here is going to have inflated health values. The enemies are going to be hitting a lot harder. But either way, let's jump in and talk about some Ashes. So first up, we have Stormcaller. We get this all the way back in Stormvale from a shiny beetle. It's like on the way to Nepheli before we go to Godric. And this is a super good AoE option. We have multiple spinning attacks with this, especially if you were playing a tankier class where you can, take a couple hits from stray enemies that don't come into it. This thing will do absolutely fantastic. It's going to be able to just damage and damage and damage. We're going to gather up all these knights just to show you the AoE potential of this thing. Bunch of knights. Bunch of dead knights. Let's go fight something bigger. The knights are scrubs. Let's go do a dog. Dogs are I think one of the more deadly things here in Caelid. Let's go fight a dog. This dog's perfect because it also has there's some knights that are over there that are going to attack while I'm fighting the dog. Now for the ultimate challenge. Let's go try and fight multiple dogs. I mean, y'all know how hard the dogs are. 3 dogs, there's not much beyond 3 dogs that we should, 3 dogs is a lot. That's a lot to take on. We just interrupted the dog as it attacked. And this is a fantastic one to be used with polearm weapons. I believe you can use it on spears, polearms, twin blades. Don't think you can use it on regular swords, but anything that's stronger. Get over here. Give me your eye. So the 3 dogs being, I think, probably the deadliest thing out there. Got a little sketchy there, fighting 3 separate dogs at the same time. To be honest, that's our extreme scenario. There's really no point where you should try and fight 3 dogs at the same time. So I think that really drives home that, even something as simple as Stormcaller can be viable. But let's look at some other ones. What about Lion's Claw? Now, Lion's Claw is going to be more of a single target skill, but this is fantastic. It has a ton of poise on it. It is a great, just big oomph, big, strong, juicy hit. We're not going to use this on a bunch of the knights because, it's not really an AoE option, but just big hits. And you can see that we are just poising through there. The whole advantage of this ability is it's going to be a good boss killer. It's going to allow you to make sure that your attack is going out, that you are hitting hard. Let's go use it against the dogs. We're probably going to get bopped in the face, but not before I do a ton of damage. Even running out of tears, you can still see just how hard that hit. I mean, look at the damage on that. That's crazy. And yeah, it doesn't have the AoE that Hoarfrost had, but we just did almost 2,400 damage bopping that dog in the face. Absolutely devastating skill if we're looking at single target, especially because, we tanked a bite from a dog. That is crazy poise. Let's move on down the list. Let's talk about, oh, and by the way, I almost forgot to mention Lion's Claw. We get this actually from right here. There's a You know, there's a guy that's literally like at the top of this fort. We kill him, we get Lion's Claw. Let's talk about some other ones that we get out here in Caelid. Flaming Strike. Flaming Strike you can sprint over and grab right now. Flaming Strike is basically when you're going into a Red Main Castle and you go from behind, there's just a shiny beetle back here that you kill and get it. And this one is super nice. It's going to be a very fast AoE, followed up with a heavy slash. This is another great AoE option if you don't have access to, you know, if you want the AoE that Hoarfrost brought to our kit, this is a really good alternative. Another thing that's great about this ability is it's going to also enchant your blade with fire. So after your initial damage, you're getting a good burst of damage on top of that. So as you can see, it comes out very fast with the fire and then the follow-up swing. As you can see, I'm now at 765. If I take off that fire buff, I'm down to 646. So that's a pretty significant damage increase we're getting from that fire on top of how fast that's coming out. You know, we're getting a good AoE option there. It comes out quick, gives us a sweep, and we're going to enchant our blade. So it might not be as wide of an AoE as we had with Hoarfrost, but now we're getting a damage buff, so we can follow up instead of just repeatedly spamming one weapon art over and over. And man, once we're buffed up too, our damage is not something to be scoffed at, you know. Even without the weapon art, we're going to be able to hit really hard. So, really big fan of Flaming Strike. We can get this one right around the same point. Once again, killed all 3 dogs, slaughtered those guys. This one's fast, it's fantastic. You're getting a buff out of it. Really can't go wrong with it. Let's continue down our list. What we got up next? Giant Hunt. Now this thing is nuts, to be honest. Giant Hunt, we get this from the Knight Rider that was back over in Liurnia. So you may remember right on over right near this development church when I killed that guy to get our halberd, we picked up Giant Hunt. This has some of the highest stagger in the game. Now I'm not going to even bother using this on the normal weak enemies because that's not what Giant Hunt is for. Giant Hunt is designed to do chunks. This is meant to kill bosses, it's meant to kill dogs, and it does it really well. Look at that. We knocked the dog down. A regular enemy, they're just gonna die outright. This thing is gonna break the shield. And people that have great shields, they're probably getting their guard broken by this. This has roll catch if you wanted to use it in PvP. I mean, the fact that just the sheer stagger capability of this thing is absolutely insane. Let's let the big dog come after us. We're gonna see if we can catch him with the Giant Hunt mid-charge. Oh, he's down. And especially for a zone like Caelid where we're fighting the giant dogs and the giant birds, they're just like, boop, sit down. He's going off. Let's go find a guy that has a great shield. I think there might be a great shield one up here. Just to show it on that, because that's what this is great at, you know, stuff that is tankier, stuff that's big. Giant Hunt is designed to kill those giant enemies, those big boys. And there is a lot of beefy stuff in Caelid that we're going to be fighting. There's a great shield. Okay, let's go for that guy. Let's go for that guy. He's shooting the bow. He probably has a great shield. Oh my goodness. Yeah, see how much damage we're taking in New Game Plus? Yeah, you're like a big proper knight, right? Gonna pull out a great shield. Do you have a great shield? You do. So that's Lion's Claw. Two of those and he's down. Let me go down and fight the lesser great shield enemies. Where was the man with... I'm only interested in men with shields. There we go. Like this guy. That's 2 guard breaks in a row on that guy. And like I said, this one, it's not going to have the AoE, but if you're looking to just do chunk damage to something, whether that's going to be hitting a boss extremely hard, throwing a dog up in the air, breaking a great shield so you can potentially get a critical, that's where Giant Hunt's going to perform. This thing is meant to be single target damage, similar to Lion's Claw. Let's see, up next we got 2 more left. We have Cragblade and then my personal favorite, Sword Dance. So Cragblade we actually get right on over here before we do the Impassable Great Bridge. Like there's a tower right here. There's just a little shiny ball right here. You just kill the shiny ball, you get Cragblade. This one is going to do a little amount of stagger and then a very significant damage increase with our weapon. It's going to make it easier to break stances with. All in all, a very solid choice if you want something that's a little more passive. You bring that on out, and now our rock is just covered in blade. Our blade is covered in rocks. You can see it's up to 806. If I take that off and I put it back on, 733. So very significant damage increase there. It has the initial stagger when we pull it out. Probably the best thing about this is the stance break potential that we're going to get using this. This is going to be a good one to really plow through those more shielded enemies. And of course, you get the little hit when it first comes out. That's not what we want this for. We want this for the sheer ability to potentially stance break. So how I've been using charge attacks and jump heavy, stuff like that to break enemies. This is going to make those staggers happen faster. One heavy, one light. Really solid choice if you want. And you can see it lasted for that entire encounter with the 3 dogs. So if you're looking for something that's more passive, you know, you're really comfortable with your moveset and you just want it to be stronger, that's going to be a good choice. It's also considered physical damage, so it's just going to scale with everything else. And now, one of my personal favorites, Sword Dance. Sword Dance is absolutely insane. We get this down in Liurnia by the tree. There is the one over here. There's a shiny beetle right by this minor Erd tree down here in southwest. I think it's like right along the road here-ish. But Sword Dance is super good. This one we can do 2 quick attacks and then follow it up with a 3rd attack. And this is going to be a boss killer through and through. This is also fantastic if you use, you know, something like if you have the Occult Blade, and so you can do Sword Dance while making your weapon either cold or bleed or whatever it is. This is going to do crazy damage. It comes out incredibly fast. It has a lot of forward momentum on its attack as well, which is really strong. And this is going to be one of the better ones, to be honest. Sword Dance, enough of me. I hate these guys. They have like hyper mega super poise. Sword Dance is something that I've even used on endgame builds. This is a super potent ability, and we're getting those multiple hits. They come out very fast. We have forward momentum on them as well, so a little bit of movement. And we get this all the way back in Liurnia, and look at the damage this is doing compared to some of the other ones. I can survive the guys with the hammers that have unbreakable poise. Like a single use of this, we're killing dogs. Yeah, Sword Dance OP. And I'm not going to spoil what's coming up in the walkthrough, but you're seeing what this does to dogs here. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be pretty for Radahn. But either way, that's going to wrap things up for this one. I wanted to keep this short and sweet. This is not a comprehensive list of all the Ashes of War in the game. The biggest thing was just to show you a couple that you should already have, roughly by the time you're reaching Caelid while playing Elden Ring. And all of these are fantastic choices, you know. I know a lot of people like Hoarfrost, and Hoarfrost does have great AoE, and it's, you know, you can still use it. It's not as powerful as it used to be. But if you're looking for raw power, I don't even think it's the best. There are things like Sword Dance that'll do absolutely insane amounts of damage. So don't be afraid to experiment, try out different Ashes of War, and I promise you're going to get by just fine.